All right, welcome to this episode of Inside the Gym podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode. And today, as a guest, we have Joey, our friend from Garage Gym Junkies. And we got a special episode for you today. Throughout my travels of 300 plus gyms, I've come across quite a few small gym owners that actually started like creating a garage gym that then grew to a point that they moved it and created a commercial gym. And that's how their gym started. So Joey's a garage gym expert kind of guy. I really respect the fact that he's got this awesome, badass garage gym, but he also really respects quality equipment. And we're both in agreement that if you're going to start a gym, you've got to start with quality equipment. So we thought we would have this little podcast episode and talk about the best way to start a garage gym that you could potentially springboard into having a small commercial gym. So thanks for coming on, Joey.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, how big is your current gym?
It is 630 or 40 square feet. So it's got that. So when I built this house, I built it around the garage, and I actually added a third car stall that's connected, so I could have more garage space, because I already knew at that point I was going to go big and definitely stay home. So that's what I did.
Nice, yeah. Because I think the standard 2-car garage is somewhere in the mid 600 square feet. So.
Yeah, so somewhere around there. So I mean, I have the main one, which is the 2-car garage, and then I had that third car single stall, which is really kind of slim and tiny. I wish they didn't have a wall barrier right there, because I would be able to like stretch a little bit more, but it's structural, so I can't take it down. I've already asked that during the build. They're like, no, you need to keep that one up.
Yeah. So, and then just for everybody, Joey and I have already had multiple conversations about like how to start a gym. And we both agree that first and foremost, you've got to have a nice set of dumbbells.
Yes,
and I think we both agree that when you get that nice set of dumbbells, especially because of the way that dumbbells are, no one's going to start with 5 through 150, not for a home gym or a garage gym. You may need that in your commercial gym, but whatever set of dumbbells you start with, make sure that it's a quality set that you can add on to later. Because even if you create a hardcore piecemeal, like crazy ass wild like gym, even those gyms have matching sets of dumbbells. Like, you don't go into a commercial gym and have 12 different sets of dumbbells, or dumbbells where the 5 and the 35 are from different manufacturers. It's just
weirdly enough, there's actually a gym here in North Carolina that I actually went to at Gold's in Fuquay that was just like that. That had it had a mixture of American barbell urethanes and a mixture of iron grips. And it drove me nuts.
Right.
It's like you tell they piecemealed, like the sets together, and one, aesthetically, it looks wrong. 2, it doesn't even fit. You have to have 2 different kind of dumbbell racks, because one was round head, the other one are hexagon. It's a wrong way to start off, from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you want to start small and go with those nice round urethane dumbbells, but if you can't, just make sure that whatever you start with is something that can be built onto and you can grow that set.
Yep.
So that way, everything, if you decide to move from your garage gym to a small commercial gym, then you're not replacing your dumbbells, because dumbbells can get incredibly expensive. I know, and pricing
to those 80s, 90s, 100s, 110s, 120s and up. I mean, the cost factor, you certainly don't get those in the 5-pound increments. The cost.
No, and it's funny, like
ridiculous.
It's funny how as you go up in dumbbell weight, the price per pound increases. Like you can get up to 50 somewhere in the $1.50 per pound rate.
Yep.
But then you get
You're
up
looking
in
3,
like the
4,
100,
$5 a pound.
yeah, 100, 120. Sometimes you're looking at like $3 to $4 a pound.
Yep. Yep.
So, and
And
you
it
got, and
depends
those
on
you
what
got to
brand you're
order.
going with too, the brand, the material, just
Mhm.
how luxe they are. I mean, I know if I
Yeah.
went with Watson all the way up to the, like I have all the way up to 150, I have up to 120s. If I went any further than that, that was just, I mean, each pair after that was just rough. So and luckily I knew I was pretty good at the 120s, and that's all I needed
Yeah. I mean, in 130s, you're probably looking at $1,200 for the pair.
for a pair.
Yeah. I mean, you could buy a piece of equipment or another set of dumbbells.
Exactly. So then you have to start weighing in, like, do I really, I mean, how many reps are, and how many reps and how many sets are you going to be doing with that big darn pair compared to what you can get out of another machine that could add on to your training and enhance,
Right.
your whole
Exactly.
program,
Yeah.
which ultimately the whole part of this was to get fit and to stay healthy and get stronger and create new goals. Well, you can't do that if all your money is in just one thing. It can't be just
Right.
all dumbbells. It can't be only just plates. It can't, because if you only have plates, you don't have a rack. If you only have dumbbells, well, you need a bench. I mean, you gotta work around everything. You have to price it out and be economical where it needs to be.
Yeah. And a lot of people love the adjustable like dumbbells for a space standpoint. But if your goal, as we're talking about in this
Yeah,
episode, your goal is to grow and be able to move to a commercial gym, then start with your fives, tens, and build an actual set. Don't go adjustable, because
I
that's not
agree.
something you're going to be able to use in a commercial gym setting.
I agree. I agree definitely.
And then we both said, obviously, you need the next obvious thing we were talking about was you got to have a nice adjustable bench. And
Yes,
I think you'll agree that an adjustable bench from any quality company is almost the same as an adjustable bench from almost any other quality company. I personally would get an adjustable bench from a company that sells equipment into a commercial gym. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that Force and Rep and all of those companies make quality home gym equipment. But if your goal is to have a commercial gym, like I've been in commercial gyms that have Rep benches and they're just fine. But I know that those were budget benches when I walk in there.
so me personally, this is where I would differ. Now, rep benches, I mean, I am not going to knock on them. I've had two of them in the past, and each one that I've upgraded from was like leaps and bounds better from the next one. The stuff that they're putting out right now, I mean, it's in league with Rogue in a lot of ways. But me personally, if I was going to get adjustable benches, because the commercial ones, I don't like that they have that slick vinyl. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times there's commercial adjustable benches, and they have too large of a gap from the seat to the backrest, and I
Mm-hmm.
hate that larger gap. So I would definitely go with someone probably more along the lines of like Rogue, and I would get like an adjustable bench from them. Um, just because I want the grippy pad. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's better for everybody, less slipping, less injuries. So that's where I would differ. I would definitely probably go more along the lines of Rogue, but Rogue is also, also in line with home gym, but also commercial grade as well. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
little
I
hard
look
to
at Rogue a
know
lot of
close.
times as like a powerlifting, like CrossFit sort of company. So,
Yeah.
but you see Rogue in every commercial gym you've ever been in.
Yep.
So that is a company that you're going to see commercially, and nobody's gonna think twice that, oh, you have Rogue benches. They're gonna be like, oh, that's quality.
Yeah. I know it's gonna hold my fat ass on there, plus another, plus all this weight, and I know it's gonna support me. I know it's gonna take a beating. And I know it's gonna, and then I also know there's parts available and it's got a warranty, because that's another thing that you also want to look at when you're getting any of these pieces is how good is that company's customer service. I mean, Rep's got really good customer service. Rogue has always had, very good customer service. You want to make sure you go to a company that, if these wearables break, that you can reach out to them and get a new part and deal with them, especially if it came in, damaged. Those are all things you want to factor in on your purchases.
Oh, 100%. And
Yeah.
I think this is where then after those first two initial purchases, we started to differ a little bit, but I think in quality ways, and I think that there's like thoughts and behind both and legitimacy behind both of us. We both felt like the next piece that you needed was a rack. I think you thought you should go with an actual full on rack, right?
I was so it really depends on your space, because the one my main focus is it has to be a 3x3 1-inch 1-inch rack. That is the most common, and it has the most accessories available for anybody. So you're not going to be limited down onto a smaller ecosystem. So you have a bigger ecosystem, and you can cross them over with like Sornix and Rogue and all that kind of stuff. Now you get into issues when you cross over with like Rogue and Rep. They don't fit because one's metric, one is actual I think Imperial or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have those issues. So I would definitely go with an American made rack or North American made rack. But me personally, I would go more along the lines of like half racks, and then you could always expand them. That's the blessing about those things, is you could expand them. So I would have ones with front feet, and then if you ever needed another one, you could easily get it. Or if you want to expand on it, you can get parts and extend the back out, and you can do whatever the heck you want. Racks are basically Legos for adults that like gyms.
And
I mean, I would turn all into a freaking rack. So I mean, in my garage. So
yeah, and for me, I would go with something. For my first like actual piece, I'd go with something similar but different than the Smith machine I have behind me. The Smith machine that you always see me sitting on, it's a half rack Smith machine. The one I have behind me isn't one I would go with because it has oval tubing. But I know a lot of people knock Relentless and Bolt, but I've heard really good things from actual like powerlifting and bodybuilding gym owners that have the Relentless and the Bolt half rack Smith machines.
I have heard good things on them. I have.
Yeah, I've heard great things about both.
Personally, though, if I was going to get a half rack, if I was going to get a Smith machine, just because of where my focus is on pieces of equipment and like end game focusing, I would definitely go with the old school Cybex, because I also don't like there's certain things on Smith machines. I don't want one with an incline or anything like that. I want it true vertical. The Cybex is true. It's solid. It's huge. It's the same size as most Smith machines, but it's beefy. It has plate storage on the back, just like yours as well. But it's a vertical, so it's just better. It's super smooth. So that's I would go with more of a classic, and they have a good aesthetic to them.
Yeah, mine's angled, but the Relentless one's actually straight up and down, and it has the plate storage and everything on it. Yeah, it's Chris at Diamond State Iron in Delaware has the Relentless one, and he said his members will never let him get rid of it.
That's highly regarded. Okay.
Yeah, and I
haven't actually seen one of those in person, like to physically use it. I've used a whole bunch of them. Still my favorite one to this day, and Leo focused me on it from DMV Iron. He pointed out that the Cybex, and I started looking at it and I started using it, and I fell in love with it ever since then.
Oh yeah. The Cybex straight vertical Smith machine is hands down like one of the best ones ever made. I was just thinking more about from a versatility standpoint, being able to have the half rack and the Smith machine in one piece when you're starting out would be golden.
That I could see. So if I was to do things differently right now, and I wanted a rack, I wouldn't get a rack, and I would get the Cybex Smith machine. Truthfully. If I had the space right now, I would have already had one in the garage right now. But there's too many pieces coming that I can't stuff it in there. But I would truly actually get that and my adjustable bench that I have from William Strength. But there's so many other ones that are just as equal or better. But that would be like my two go-tos. Is I would get that Cybex Smith, and I would get that a quality adjustable bench.
And just for
everyone's things right now, that's what I would do.
Right. And just for everyone's knowledge, we are talking about the old school Cybex,
Yes,
Smith machine before they were bought by Life Fitness.
that is correct.
Not that there's anything wrong with a lot of Life Fitness stuff. I'm not a fan of what they did with the Cybex line, but
Same here.
that's a whole nother conversation. So
It's just like Nautilus too, and yeah, Nautilus and Star Trek and how when it went from Flex to Star Trek, then Star Trek to Nautilus. Once it got over from Star Trek to Nautilus, that's where I was.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. And then we were talking about the next piece after you get your rack or your Smith machine or whatever you decide to go with on that piece. We were talking about a cable machine, like a functional trainer. For me, I've used a ton of different ones. I've used the Atlantis, the Arsenals, the Life Fitness, and I really, you can tell like very minor differences between them. But I think that just go get a Life Fitness one, in my opinion. It for the money, I don't think that the Atlantis one is that much better for the money. And you can get a Life Fitness one in a couple of weeks instead of 8 months.
Now, so I've used many of just as you. Watson, Atlantis, Prime, they've always caught my eye on how smooth they are. Now, they also have aluminum. Well, two of them out of those three have aluminum pulleys. The aluminum pulley is what makes it that much smoother, and they're just really, really luxe and premium. But is it worth the money on those ones? Now, there's value. It's more cost effective for the Prime, though you have to wait 52 weeks for like the Prime functional trainer. But if I was to do it, you can find on Facebook Marketplace a quality one. You can get like the Free Motion. That is that is like end game for a lot of people, and that is a great, like, very adjustable functional trainer that you could do pretty much anything off of. So that's where I would go. I mean, as much as I like the Prime and I like all the other ones, that I would definitely go with the Free Motion, even though it's probably a nightmare to move because it's so heavy and it's just like a dead weight, and you need like a moving crew to get that thing moved around.
And just for everybody who doesn't understand, you're talking about the Free Motion one with the arms that are adjustable and
the dual stack, not the single stack.
Right. The dual stack Free Motion one with the two arms that are like 180 degree movable and or 90 degree movable
up, down,
and
sides,
up, down. Yeah. Yeah. That thing moves in like 1,000 different directions.
And that's the one that I would go to.
No, I totally forgot about that piece. That's a really quality piece.
Yeah. I think that one is, I've seen them in gyms all the time. I've used them for, gosh, they're pretty old, and I've used them for a very long time. They have some other ones like the Nautilus Freedom Trainer that like the newer versions and stuff. Those are really good too, but I would always lean right back to the Free Motion if I was going to get one that had all that.
Yeah. And the Cybex one that came out isn't as nice.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that Free Motion one is so much better than, and I don't know why, but it's so much better than all the other companies that try to do that same thing.
It's super easy to adjust. You could feel the weight when you're moving it, but it clicks and pops in. I love hearing like pulling the pop pin and just letting it go, and then it snap right into place, just like on the Prime one and all that stuff. On all my Prime pieces, it locks in real quick. It's heavy duty steel. The weight stack, the dual weight stack is perfect. So then you're getting more weight to it. I mean, that is, and they just can't copy it as well as the way Free Motion did it from the very get-go. So that's that'd be the one I would do.
Yeah. And then for me, the next piece I would get would be a belt squat. And the reason I would go belt squat is because of the versatility of different exercises that you can do with the belt squat. This isn't just squats. You can do bent over rows. You can do RDLs. You can do squats. You can do, like, there's just a plethora. You can find workout video after workout video of different ways to use a belt squat.
Yep.
And if I were going to get a belt squat, that I was going to transition into a commercial gym, I would go straight to the guy who invented the belt squat, and I'd get the winning strength one. I've used it in a couple powerlifting gyms. It's badass. It's very versatile. It's built like a tank, but it doesn't take up a ton of space. And I like the Rogue one, but it's got the pulleys, and I wouldn't want that in my home gym.
So I would lean on going with the Rogue one. As much as I love like the Pit Shark, though it's also AKA the Plate Shark, because it's not 1-to-1. So I mean, I have had, and I have videos of it, 20 45s total on that thing, doing full deep reps.
Yeah.
So that one, it's exhausting loading it up and unloading it. That's more of the workout than the actual workout itself. The Rogue is 1-to-1. So that one, you're going to get a lot more weight resistance. I would probably still, I would lean and go to the Rogue one, and just make sure that I showed my members actually how well you can actually use it.
Yeah. No, I like the Rogue one.
That's what I would do. I mean, and it's not the worst footprint compared to other ones.
Yeah.
So I would do that one. Truthfully.
Yeah, the Rogue one actually has a similar, if not smaller, footprint than the Pit Shark, I think.
Yeah. No, it's definitely smaller for sure.
Yeah, that Pit Shark's got a huge footprint.
It does.
Have you used the winning strength one?
Horns on and everything else. Yeah, it definitely takes up a large circumference. And the plus side is, if you ever decided that you wanted to take in your home gym or in your commercial gym and you want to drop it into a rack. Now, if you got like a Rogue rack or something like that has those right dimensions, and you could also get spacers to fix it for other manufacturers, you can drop it in and add more over here and over here. So there's ways you can utilize that. So I'm leaning on to the Rogue one on that one. Now, I'm not a Rogue fanboy either.
It's a quality buy.
I definitely think it's got good value to it.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. It's a quality buy. As I mentioned, I like the winning strength one from the footprint, and
it's an awesome one. I mean, I'm not discounting it whatsoever.
Yeah,
I just like
no,
I just really like the Rogue one.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I've only used Winnings a couple of times, but I loved it every time I've used it. So, next, I think that, believe it or not, after the beginning of this conversation, the next piece we actually 100% agreed on, and that was a leg extension hamstring curl. And we both agreed that there isn't a better piece on the market. Spend the money, wait the time, get the prime one.
Amen. And that's what I just did. And from April to April, and I just did. And it is fantastic. Now, this is where people could differentiate. Do you want the selectorized or do you want the plate loaded? Me, I like having more ability to adjust the strength curve with the plate loaded. But this could be, I mean, this is like, going on down to the weeds. But I prefer for that one, the plate loaded. I think it's just a better value. It's also easier to move around as well on the home gym side as well. I mean, I keep mine on wheels. I have locking wheels on it, and I keep mine on wheels, and I can move around wherever the heck I want. I've already moved around 4 times. Nice. I don't think I've figured out a right spot where I'm going to permanently keep it as I keep getting more stuff in. So, but definitely the prime one, they've perfected. Now they have stainless handles on it. They have stainless horns instead of the urethane. It's nice. It looks great, and it hits so well.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, for me, if you're going to start with a home gym, garage gym, and eventually progress to a commercial gym, the less selectorized or pin loaded equipment you have and the more plate loaded equipment you have, the easier that transition is going to be. I have one piece of selectorized equipment in my home gym, and moving that thing around is a mother. Like
my pec deck, the prime pec deck that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, just to get it in the corner, to move it about 6 inches, I had to take WD-40 silicone spray for the cables and spray the floor down and get it super slick on the rubber flooring. And then on every spot where I was going to keep on, doing the daisy walk. And me and my friend Travis, God bless him, he came on that day and helped me haul that stuff in, and we just wiggled it in to that corner, and it was a beast because all 300 pounds is sitting over here, and then you have all this other weight stretching out. It was selector rides can just kill you, if especially if you don't have a pallet jack or a big red freaking loader and stuff. I mean, it's hard. You don't need to die trying to move equipment, so you got to think smarter.
Yeah, and then for me the next piece for me would 100% be a lat pull down seated row combo. And the only one I have found in my research that I would buy and put in my garage or home gym and then move to a commercial gym is the Atlantis. And the reason I would do the Atlantis is because, one, the Atlantis offers both lat pull down and the row from a seat. You're not sitting on the floor. No one wants to go to the commercial gym and sit on the damn floor. No one wants to do that.
I don't even want to anymore. I know. I have one that's in that design, and I'm tired of plopping my old butt right down on the damn floor. I even have to use a pad because my butt's getting so bony from all the cardio that I put a pad down so I can sit on it because I'm so tired of sitting on the floor.
And the great thing about the Atlantis one, there's a couple others that have a seat, and there's a couple that have like a really long seat.
I don't want that long one.
You don't want that long seat.
What not even in the commercial gym
that nobody else does.
Space and where you're going to move it around and how that's going to take up your whole entire floor plan. Walking around it, I was dealing with my buddy at his gym because they have one that's got a longer seat for this 5-station Cybex older school crossover functional trainer, and it's just a nightmare. It just takes up too much room, and you have to kind of steer all the equipment around it. I wouldn't do that. No, yeah. I agree. I agree with you, and I love Atlantis.
Have you seen the Atlantis one?
Yeah, I've used it. I've used it many
times. I love the way that the Atlantis one's got the seat that moves in or moves out, depending on whether you're.
By the way,
what's that?
Watson also does too.
Okay, I did not find the Watson one. I found the Atlantis one, and I was doing
DMV, I think, in Rockville. Now they have two different kinds. They have the one that is the dual stack in the front, 2 cable columns on the top, and you adjust the height. It's got the adjustable height seated bench, so you can do high rows and low rows. And then they have another version, which is the traditional lat pull down all in one, lat low row. But yeah, I would definitely go with just for value and how smooth it is, and the clean look. I would go with Atlantis on that one.
Yeah, I think it's such a quality piece.
I agree.
And the versatility that it gives you in your home gym, garage gym, and then that's a solid commercial piece of equipment.
It is. I have 2 pieces of Atlantis, and I have my third one coming in September, and they are top notch. Very adjustable. I love the gas assisted shots, all that kind of stuff. It makes it easy to adjust things around. I mean, it's got a nice clean look. It goes with the aesthetic. I would do the same, and I love just seeing like on the pull down anything that Atlantis has that's aluminum. It has that red aluminum pulleys or red aluminum pop pins. It's just a classic. It always impresses from afar.
Yeah, and then that was kind of where we stopped for like an initial this is what you have to really have a solid spot. And in my little gym, that's probably all I would have space for. But if we wanted to go, then we talked about where we'd want to go if we wanted to go a step further, because your gym's twice the size of mine. My gym's only about 300 square feet. Right. So I have to be incredibly selective.
As I was before I moved here. That's why I only had a few pieces, and every time I put one in, I had to take one out. It was a sad game of losing equipment.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I have in my home gym right now. Except I don't have. No, that's what I have. That's exactly the pieces I have. So not those manufacturers.
Going on to me now, right? So there was another Atlantis piece that was like my end game for years. I went to DMV Iron in Rockville the week after they opened. And Leo never disappoints ever.
Oh, of course. No.
With God bless you, Leo. If you're watching this, dude, you do a good job. Oh my gosh, the calf press. Have you ever seen a calf machine? Okay, that actually has a line forming to use it. Ever since I marked my words. I used it and I was using it and I was doing my 3 sets of 20 and there was people lining up behind me to use it. And then as soon as I got up, they're like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done." Like, and I look behind that person. There's another person waiting to use that. They were going to superset with each other. I'm like, "Holy crap!" That it was the calf press, the Atlantis calf press. And I hunted down for 2 years trying to find one, and I missed out on 2. And then finally, Will from Fit Club VA, me and him did a trade, and and got that deal done. And I got one from him, and it's never leaving. My wife doesn't want to leave. She loved it because she was with me that day when I first used it, and it's staying for life. It is amazing. And it's so comfortable to use. So that one. But then now, if you're going to go into something where you're depending on what you're going to be doing for your training, this is where it could be different. It could differentiate. That Nautilus Explode that I have is like a lat game changer to build the wings. And
I love that.
This thing is phenomenal. Now, Prime has theirs now, and also Atlantis has a very close copy of it. And from my informers, GymInformer, from my informers, right? My buddy TJ used it at Woodbridge when they opened, and you probably have seen it there.
I used it at Woodbridge.
So they have the Atlantis version now that just came out, and that looks hot. And my friend says, I mean, obviously, if you can get the Nautilus Explode lat pull down, which is a high row, or you can get the Atlantis, and you're both available to you at the same price, get the Nautilus Explode. But he goes, if you can't find it and you need to order one, get the Atlantis one. And I was like, well, that just says a lot. That says a lot for my friend that a true believer on all this, my buddy TJ. And so I'm very interested to try that one. I also want to try the new Prime pull down that they have.
I've used the Prime one, the Atlantis one, the Panada one. And
I'm not a big fan of Panada.
I think
very comfortable.
Okay.
They look kind of nice, but either they're too tall or they just don't hit right. I'm just not a big fan of them. I think I think it's overhyped, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion.
I liked using it, but I don't think it's worth the extra spend.
I believe it because I mean you're paying the import fee, the duty fees, plus the high price for that Panada charges. Yeah, I wouldn't go that way. I would definitely go with the Atlantis one for that. So that's where I would get for there. But then now as you keep on growing,
for me next, I would and you and I talked about this already. You would go hack squat and I would go leg press.
No. Now I believe me, I've changed.
Really?
I'm all in on Tyler Hobson Iron Core, my hip press that's coming. That is an absolute game changer. I would just get a hip press in general. That's a leg press. But now I would go 100% with Tyler Hobson over at Iron Core and get that hip press, especially with the JD Special Edition. My name. That what we've done with it with my buddies and I, toying ideas together, adding an extra horn so now it could be quad dominant or hip dominant, and then we extended the bottom foot plate, did cutouts on the side so you could do single leg. I designed it with a 20-degree bend inward so you don't lock your knees out, so you can use it for calf raises. So if you don't have the opportunity or don't want to get another calf machine like the Atlantis one, which I'm still keeping anyway, then you can do calf raises off of it. But then it adds another 6 to 8 inches on the bottom, a whole big sheet of steel where you could also use for other leg positions. So I'm going with the hip press from Tyler Hobson Iron Core. That is a game changer. It'll be here next month.
Nice. Now,
stand by. That's going to be
do you
amazing.
mind? And I love Tyler. I think Tyler is one of the best equipment designers that we've ever seen.
Love the man. He's family.
He's been on our pod. He's been on a podcast a couple of times. Love Tyler. But Tyler's not for everybody.
No.
And when I say that, I don't mean that in that not everyone should use Tyler's equipment, because everyone should use Tyler's equipment.
Oh, yeah. If you get
I'm just saying that in order to get a piece of Tyler Hobson equipment from Iron Core, you're going to pay for it.
But you will as well with Rogers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You will with Rogers, and you will with Atlantis, and you will. So if I'm going to get something that's so beefy, I mean, that thing weighs 1,200 pounds, his hip press. That's what he was estimating. So, and it looks every bit the part of that 1,200 pounds. So I'm going to go with something that man created with his hands with in that shop, that I know is going to outlast us all, because look at the OG hip presses that he's made.
Oh yeah.
Before he worked at Rogers and brought that line over to them, and then they're still out there and they're still taking a beating and they're still kicking strong.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
You don't see those in the junkyard. You see them in the collector's market now.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's what I would do. I mean, if you're going to be paying through Rogers, what, $6,000-$7,000 for their hip press, or like $8,000 to $9,000 for their seated squat pro, I'm gonna go for $8,000 to $9,000, and I'd rather spend it on a handmade, American made, in Texas Iron Core piece. That's just my opinion. If you're gonna be spending the same amount of money, I'm gonna get the better quality one, and the one that I know that's gonna slap harder.
No, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I don't know how you go wrong with a piece of equipment from Tyler. For me, I would go leg press. And only because it's so expected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're going to have a commercial gym, you
have to
have some sort of leg press.
Yeah. I think in the 300 plus gyms I've been in, I've only ever been in one gym that didn't have a leg press. And I immediately went to the owners and I'm like, you have to buy a leg press.
You can have everything else in the world, but if you have a crappy leg section, that means a lot, because legs are huge for in all sorts of training, whether it's CrossFit, anything. You need your legs. You need them strong, and you need them conditioned. You need a quality leg piece. You need a couple quality leg pieces. The leg combo. You need the leg press. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and if I were going to buy a leg press tomorrow and I couldn't find an OG Nebula.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
If you can find an OG Nebula, go buy the OG Nebula. Tom Eilerman is working for TKO now, and he's telling me that leg press is the same as the Gen 2 Nebula one. I haven't used it more than once or twice. So if you're okay with that, you can go with the TKO one. I've used the
VA over in South Hill. Will, he has
the TKO.
Yeah, but he has one of those few, like the first 23 that were actually made in the US, and then they started producing overseas. Yeah. I heard rumors that they're going to start producing back in the States again. I'm not sure.
I haven't heard that from Tom yet, but I've used 3 of the original 20 or 18 or 20 ones.
Whatever the hell, yeah, because I know Will's got that one, and I use it over there. I mean, that thing's crazy. It's got a lot of adjustment. It's beautiful. That's a great point. I mean, if I would definitely be hunting down one of the American made ones, but yeah, no, that is a good piece.
Yeah, that thing's a beast. Yeah. Yeah, I've used Will's, and I use David Scott's over at Hybrid Strength in Ohio. He's got one too. Him and Tom are friends. I forget where I used the other one. I found one in another gym. At one point, I was like, I'm going to go on a quest and just use each one of them.
Number 1 through whatever the hell. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Take a picture of great number as you used it.
And it's such a beefy piece. You're never going to, no matter how big the guys or gals get in your gym, they're not going to outbeef that piece.
No. I agree.
But if I couldn't find one of those or get one of those, why am I drawing a blank?
I would
I
I would think about the Cybex pivot press, the pivot leg
oh,
press.
I do like that one.
That one I like. I mean, now that granted, that's also leaning on the plate shark side of like it's a plate hog, but that one is a unbelievably fluid and comfortable leg press. So I would be down with that one if I couldn't get my iron core and you couldn't get, and I would definitely agree with that would be my number 2 is the TKO one, but the American made version.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the Arsenal leg sled that would be sorry, not the Arsenal, the Nebula one. For the original, like that Ronnie Coleman used, that would be one. But then that Cybex would be right would be lower on that list, but it would be in that list.
Yeah, I've seen the Nebula one a few times. If you were going to buy a brand new one and you didn't want to go with the TKO, the one that I've been really impressed with lately, there's why I just drew a blank again. I'm gonna have to edit that out or something because I'm like, oh, Dynamics. So Dynamics,
yes.
it's an American-made company.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a gym yesterday in Williamsburg that has their leg press. I was at Powerhouse in Hanover, Maryland, that has their leg press, and it is a beefy.
I miss Powerhouse in Hanover. That's a great place.
It's a beefy leg press. It looks just like it's based off the Arsenal leg press that is based off the Nebula leg press.
Correct.
It's just half the price of the Arsenal leg press.
And half the time. I mean, Arsenal doesn't take that long either, but it's the price and even faster delivery.
Mm-hmm.
That would be more of an economical decision, and I could see that.
Yeah, and it's a beast. Like you could put that in a commercial gym, and nobody's gonna be like, oh, like you bought some knockoff piece of crap. Like that thing's a beast.
It ain't gonna break, and it's gonna get used and abused very well. It's gonna be it's gonna be in a happy home, definitely.
Yeah, of the pieces, and I hate calling them a knockoff company, but they're not prime Atlantis. They haven't made a name for themselves yet to get to that point.
They haven't made anything original to them for their own name yet. They've been going off of other designs and recreating them very well, just like Bolt. All they do is clone from one piece to another. They haven't actually ever invented anything besides just redesigning, every piece of equipment out there and then reselling it. So
I've used some really quality pieces from Bolt.
I've seen good things. I just looking at it, I just wouldn't spend the money on it. I honestly, because I also got to think about, like, if I ever wanted to resell it, also as a gym owner, whether home gym or commercial, that's one big factor you need to put into play. Yeah, you're going to save a few bucks here, but you are going to lose out your ass down the road if you try to resell that thing. So certain names, demand, a higher resale value and also faster sales. And
that's what I was just talking to a gym owner yesterday in a gym I was in, and he had just bought a bunch of Atlantis equipment. And we were talking about the fact that he has a fitness center. And you don't see a lot of fitness centers with Atlantis equipment, but he loves it. And he understands that even if he puts a piece of Atlantis equipment in his gym that his members don't decide to utilize that much or aren't really that big of fans of, he can turn around and sell it tomorrow for what he bought it for.
Pretty much close to it, yeah. Just as long as it's in good condition. I mean, it has a very high demand. I mean, especially when it's their top pieces, and Atlantis has a large line. Yeah, I mean, I look at Leo. He overbought on some pieces, and I bought his one shoulder press, plate loaded converging shoulder press. Paid full price for it, and I love it. I use it I use it all the time because it demands, that resale value, and I just didn't have to deal with the 8-month wait.
I was at one of Will's gyms yesterday, and he was showing me some pieces he had bought from Leo, because Leo overbought.
Yeah, that man is crazy. I love him.
Yes.
I'm always watching. See if there's anything else that could fit in there. But Will's got a slew. When I was there last week on Friday, he actually just came back. His buddy just came back from picking up a slew of things from him, and just got back in. And I actually helped him unload when I was working out. I mean, great pieces. Yeah, he always sells the best of the classics and the best of the new. Good stuff.
100%. And he's such a good dude. Like,
oh, he's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at American Iron yesterday. Just posted a review of it today.
I have to go check that out later. I haven't seen it yet.
So by the time this comes out, it will have been up for a few days, but it came out today. So
I've been at the hospital all these days, so it's been a wild ride the past couple of days.
Yeah, I hit 3 gyms yesterday. So
you lucky son of a gun.
Well, it's about to be gym time this summer. Being a teacher, I do gyms all summer. So
well, that's actually very nice. I just took this whole entire week off because I just needed a break.
Oh,
I needed a darn break, man.
Mine's coming. So that's what our thoughts are. And if you're going to start, if you have any aspirations of like owning a commercial gym one day, starting a commercial gym, it's really great to start building a badass home gym and let that be your springboard. And if I had any other piece of advice, I would just expound upon what we were just talking about, is make sure that whenever you're buying stuff, even if it's just for your home gym, even if you're not sure if you're going to go that commercial gym route, buy quality. It's gonna pay off.
Exactly where I'm gonna go on to that one. My big thing that I want everybody to pay attention to is this simple phrase: buy once, cry once. It's gonna suck shelling out the money for a higher dollar piece of equipment, but you buy what you truly know is the best for you. And of course, everybody's different, but you find through trial and error, you go out to these gyms like you have and I have, and you go to DMV Irons and you go to Fit Clubs and you go all these other places, right? And you try out all these pieces. You record yourself using them and you make a little like shopping list. Whenever I go to Leo's gym, I always tell him, I'm like, I'm going shopping. And I just start recording videos of every piece of equipment just so I can see what I liked, what I didn't like. But it was all about the end game for when I moved here was I bought once, I cried once, and I'm done.
Yeah, and be careful of buying. And the other thing I would say is be careful of buying equipment that's supposed to do too many things.
Yes.
Like you can
it never does any of those perfectly like a single machine would, but single machines don't always need to be a single machine, just like the leg combo. You can get the exact same feel and everything on a leg combo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've used some really quality pieces of equipment that'll do 2 things really well.
Yep.
When you go beyond 2, they never seem to do any one of them as well as they should.
I agree. So, it seems like it might do 1 out of those 3 things pretty well, and then the other 2 just fall really short. But it could do it, but it's like I would rather just pick up a pair of dumbbells or a barbell or whatever the hell and get it done that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So that's our thoughts on building a home gym, garage gym that one day you hope to turn into a commercial gym. Hopefully this was helpful. I appreciate you coming on, Joey.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, man.
All right. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.